Hello all boat fans, this is Tim from Boatshed Brighton Yacht Brokers, and we're here today for something a little bit different. I'm just going to show you some basic engine checks that you can do for yourselves. A lot of owners feel a little bit scared to go underneath the engine cover or into the engine room or engine compartment, and therefore don't check their engines as much or as often as they could. This often leads to really expensive bills when actually just a few simple checks could keep your engine perfectly safe, or engines. So let's have a little look around, shall we? So let's pick the camera up and we'll just look down at these two engines, or we'll concentrate on one engine. So this is the port engine of this Princess 30 DS. Now, what am I looking for first on the engine itself? I'm just checking around to make sure there are no loose wires, no loose pipe work, nothing hanging off that could let things out of the engine that shouldn't be let out of the engine, like coolant or oil, and also to make sure that nothing can get into the engine that shouldn't, like seawater, etc. One very important check thinking about seawater is just to look under your engine and look down into the bilge. Now the bilge is the bottom of the boat, or as far down as you can go, and you can see there's a bit of water in here. That's not too much of a problem, but if it should reach to this item here, if you can just see, that is the bottom of the engine and it's called the sump. And if the water reaches that, it very, very quickly starts to rot it, which means that you need a new sump, and therefore the engine generally will have to be taken out, sump replaced, and then the engine put back in, and that's very expensive. And often it actually writes the engine off. So yeah, just keep an eye on the water in your bilge. Okay, so back on top of the engine. So I can't see any immediate issues there, which is really good. One thing to mention is that I'm not going to go through all of the components here, because we'd be here for far too long. But certainly look to make sure things are where they should be. Little pipes like these, see this one moving here, that's not a problem if it moves a little bit. Little pipes like these, pipes like this one here as well. What happens is when people hop into engine rooms, they stand kind of where I'm standing. And when they want to get out, they will generally lever themselves out, and that quite often ends with, or is assisted by putting one foot somewhere here. So a nice size 9 or 10 on top of here. And if there is kind of fairly fragile pipe work or wiring or dipstick, etc., easy to kick them off and cause yourself a big problem. So never stand on your engine where possible. Okay, so this is a diesel engine, so for it to run it needs air, which it gets through the filter, and it needs water cooling to keep it cool, and it needs oil to lubricate it, and it needs diesel to actually work. So we need to make sure that the diesel tanks are elsewhere, so I'm not going to look at those at the moment. So we're going to make sure we've got the cooling water and the oil. So first of all, we find the expansion tank, which is here. So this is a reservoir of coolant water, and to open up generally is a push down on the lid and a turn, and off it comes. There we go, and we just place that to one side. Make sure that can't go anywhere, because if you kick that into the bilge, you may never see it again. That's a very common problem. And you can check that you've got coolant in there by sticking your finger in, preferably with a protective glove on. And if there's water in there, like as you can see on my finger, nice and wet, then you know there's coolant in there. And generally, you should be able to see a level in there, but this one's a little bit low, so we'll have to get that topped up. And then we always make sure we put the lid back on, which is hard. Oh, there we go. It's quite difficult with one hand sometimes, but that's popped on nicely. So oil, we need to make sure we have enough oil in the engine, and generally you'll find that the oil filler cap, which is this, and I'll mention it in a moment, and the dipstick, which is this, are more brightly coloured to give you to help you locate them, essentially. So to check your oil level, you pull the dipstick out, and as you'll see, it's quite long. This one's about 1 metre long, and the reason it's this long is because it actually sticks down through the engine, all the way through the engine to the bottom, and the end of it will poke into the level of oil in the sump at the bottom. So that's why it's so long. So out it comes, and careful, because they quite often just ping across to you. It's a bit difficult with one hand, but hopefully I'll show you. Now at the bottom of the dipstick, hopefully you can see some black liquid, and that is oil. And if I just turn the dipstick, you can see that there are two kind of half circle shapes bent into the dipstick there. That shows the top level and the bottom level. So as the dipstick is poking down into the oil there, the oil basically sticks onto the dipstick and gives you a level. Look at that wobbling about. And as you can see, the level there is up to the uppermost mark there. You might be able to see the word max there as well. So that is a good oil level. The oil should always be between those two half circles there. If it's below the lower half circle, then you need to get some oil into that engine quickly. Now let's see if I can get that through into there one-handed. Yes, I can. Well done me. And push that firmly home down so that it's nice, safe and secure there. And then if you do want to put some oil in the engine, always make sure you get the right oil. Always check your user manual. And basically, you work out how much you need and you insert it through this hole here. And again, make sure you don't lose the filler cap. Put the oil in there and it drains throughout the oil, the engine components and finds its way down to the bilge. So if you add oil into that hole, then the level on the dipstick here should rise slowly. Just be careful not to overfill it. If you just do it a little bit at a time, because it does take time to work its way through the engine. And as you look through this hole, you should be able to see nice white shiny metallic things or components. If you see a big pile of rust in there, then you have got problems essentially. And then when we finish, we always remember to put the lid back on, or the filler cap back on, nice and tight and in place, to stop corrosion getting in and to stop oil getting out. So this was Tim from Boatshed Brighton Yacht Brokers, showing you around this engine just for a few basic checks. Hope you've learned something, or if you forgot it, hope you've remembered it. But above all, do remember to look down at your engines, remember to check them over and have a good look around your engine rooms as well. Don't be afraid. If you ever need guidance or a chat about your engines, give me a shout. We're always here to help. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you soon.